Hi, well, we're back with Ian Huntley from Huntley's Your Money Weekly to talk a little bit more about investor mistakes. Ian, tell us about the psychology of investing and do we need to be very mindful of this?
I think investor psychology is perhaps the most single important thing to understand. The psychology of the investor is a very, very interesting subject because there are brilliant people who really understand the accounts. Look, they could give lectures on accounts, but they prove to be terrible investors. Why? I think that the common sense to buying real things at good value that will sustain over a period of time, if you have that solid instinct and common sense that I will only buy real things and I will try hard to buy them at good value, and there will be things that in 10 years' time will still be there. You know, it's very hard roots common sense.
So are there any good tactics for keeping one's cool?
One of the great enemies of the population as investors is envy. You know, the old green-eyed envy devil, it's quite extraordinary. You see your next door neighbour making money, you get envious, you want to do the same thing. Now, if that next door neighbour is making money, buying these marvellous things that are going up at the time, that are new inventions that turn moonbeams into gold, you may well sit down and think that's a great idea. You know, because he's making money and chattering to you about it. Envy is one of the greatest enemies of the general population. You've just seen what's happened over the last few years. Now, you don't do things that way. You keep your cool and sit down and look at what you're doing, and you remember this: I must understand what I'm doing, and second, I must always understand to keep humble, and there's a lot of cleverer people than I sitting down and working at the same subject. And third, any time that I think that I really know it and that I've become a master of this, that's when I'm bloody wrong, or when there's a big, deep hole in front of me ready to take my money from me. I must be humble.
Are you humble, Ian?
Dollar cost averaging was recommended by Ben Graham at Security Analysis Explained, and he's one of the great fathers of investing. Yes, because what it does is to say you keep on investing through the cycle. That's including in the bad times. And his way of putting it was, in the bad times, for the same amount of money, you can buy that many more shares. Because your problem is with investor psychology. When they see their neighbours making money, and when they see in the newspapers the headlines about everyone else making money, that's when they think it's a good time to buy. You find that charts of investor confidence really go to amazing peaks at the top of bull markets. Naturally, that's when everyone's buying and the prices are very high. That's when everyone's happy and they think, oh, this is safe. That's when things are very unsafe, and very hard.
All right, so what about things like dollar cost averaging? Can that help an investor through this emotional roller coaster?
The Ben Graham dollar cost averaging, one, it means you're not trying to time the markets, which is difficult. B, you're a consistent buyer every year through good times and bad. So that means that over a period of time, you will actually get pretty good value over that period of time. As long as you're buying good quality stocks based on things that are very necessary, that are not overgeared and are run in a common sense fashion and give you good dividends.
What and when should an investor sell?
I like the Warren Buffett dictum that you should buy as if the stock exchange is going to be shut for 10 years or 20 years. But it's interesting to think through it. That means that there's a business there that you would be happy to own in 10 years or 20 years. It's a very, very good thought process. Could this business still be there and growing in 10 or 20 years? It's a very, very good thought process. And if one owns such a business, you would only sell it if it was extremely overvalued. very overvalued, like a 40 PE and a 0.1% yield, Now, if you do have a very strong reason to believe that a market's going to go into a major bear market, you may well be 5 years following the last bear market, and the market's going crazy. It's very boomy, and you can see your next door neighbour screaming about how much money they're making, and you realise, geez, there's a lot of warning signals here. And I got into that cab this morning, he told me how much money he was making, and God, the TV session, think this is the TV people reckon it's the greatest time to buy shares of all time. I'm worried. And the simplest way to do it is sell 10% of everything. I'd prefer not to sell my best stocks. I'd be trying to find stocks that I thought were a bit more flim-flammy than the others.
Well, Ian, as we've said before, mistakes do happen. What's your advice for making the best of a bad situation?
Oh, you always look upon it as an opportunity. Always. If you walk down the garden path and a tree falls in your head, you must immediately get up and see how much money you can get for the tree, But the opportunity is actually to look at what you did wrong and think about it, and then also get stuck into it immediately. It's the old horse riding principle. If you bucked off a horse, the first thing you do is to get back on at least another horse, so you're comfortable in the saddle again. Don't go away for 10 years and then decide you've got your confidence back. But think very carefully, and also look at the stocks that are going up and why. Now, I'm talking about quality dividend-paying stocks. Trading speculatives is a different thing altogether.